people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. And love is the power that holds us together. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. You are welcome just as you are. If this is your first time with us, I bid you a special welcome. I'm so glad you found your way to our community. After the service, I will be back in the back of the sanctuary right over there. I won't probably actually be in the back of the sanctuary. I'm probably going to be over by the donuts. Let's see, where was I? To answer any questions you may have about Unitarian Universalism, about our congregation, or if you want to talk about how to get involved in our community, please feel free to join me. For those of you here in the sanctuary, we have hearing assistance devices and large print hymnals available in the back of the sanctuary. Our ushers would be happy to help you with those. For our service this morning, our online chaplain will help guide our online folks. And for those of us on site, we will be utilizing the screen behind me to project the words for our unison readings and lyrics for our hymns. You can also follow along with a printed order of service. You can find information on our website, tahomauu.com. Please be sure to read the weekly e-news for important information about our congregation, upcoming events, and volunteer opportunities. If you aren't yet signed up for e-news, you can do that today on our website so you don't miss a thing. There's so much happening here at Tahoma UU. I want to highlight just a few exciting announcements. So here we go. Let me see. Oh, first thing, our director of religious exploration is out today, and I need a volunteer to help me, ideally 2 volunteers, but we'll be happy with just 1 to help us downstairs with the kiddos. Anybody? Yes, thank you, Betsy. Oh, you do. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, we got 2. Thank you so much. Also, we're currently in the midst of our steward drive. So if you haven't filled out a pledge, there should be some at the front at the entrance. And if you are looking for one and you can't find one, you can come find me and I will help you get one. We also, a few weeks ago, we did a fun project where we talked about what we were looking for in the future of our congregation and maybe our goals. And you can find that up here, those little colorful Post-it notes over there by the coffee area. You can read those if you're interested. I think there's also a link in the e-news to them. And then, oh, lastly, there'll be an artist talk today after the service. So probably there'll be enough time to grab some coffee and a little snack. And then right in the back there in the back seats, there will be 2 artists today speaking. Marjorie Mankin and Joanne Weaver will be talking about the art. So if you want to hear about that, that should be a nice activity. Okay. And there's so much more in the e-news too. Okay. So you can look at the e-news to find out all sorts of things happening and many ways to become more involved and deeply connected with our spiritual community. You are also invited to join us for social hour immediately following the service right here in the sanctuary. Mentioned it like 2 or 3 times now. There are donuts and snacks, okay? There will be coffee and refreshments, and it's a great time to catch up or get to know someone new. For those of you who are visiting or who are new to our community, we have red coffee mugs for you to use if you would like to identify yourself and chat. So if you grab a red mug, that means you want somebody to come up and say hi. As we begin our service, I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from the land of the Coast Salish people, including the Puyallup tribal nation, land from which they were forcibly displaced. I affirm the continued sovereignty of the 574 federally recognized tribes, including the 29 here in Washington, and support those still fighting for federal recognition. I acknowledge the theft, violence, trauma, and racism that Indigenous people have experienced at the hands of colonizers from 1492 through the present day. I honor the resiliency of the Indigenous people and stand with them as they continue to fight for land, water, visibility, sovereignty, and their very existence. Lastly, friends, I invite you to set your electronic devices to worship mode. We are gathered here, one community together. Let us settle ourselves into this holy moment and open our hearts to learn and unlearn, to share and to receive. I got through it. Okay. Thank you, Remy. I snuck that one in there. I am going to invite up someone to give a testimonial. I am so sorry, I didn't catch. So sorry about that. I forgot to write your name down. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
Good morning. My name is Debbie Ramsey. I use she, her pronouns. I am perhaps an unusual kind of person in that in my late 60s, I am somebody who was raised since 5th grade in the UU Church. So this is very dear to me. I was raised in Oneonta, New York, and participated in LRY, candlelight vigils against the Vietnam War. One of my mother's close friends was a potter. And last week when I was supposed to do this, I actually had brought my chalice that she made. I was going to light it. It's one of my prized possessions. I've had it for, I don't know, 30 years or more. So it's special to me because it is a chalice and the symbol of our church. It's also special to me because it was made by somebody in the church where I grew up. Soon after my first 2 years of college, I entered the military and moved around. My ex-husband was in the military, and I've attended UU churches in Germany, in Utah, in California, as we moved around, and then finally ending up in Washington. I came to this church about just over a year ago, and I give because the UUA is aligned with the values that I was taught and that I want to support. I give because this physical building needs my financial support. And I give because this congregation, the people, have become my home away from home. So right now our pledge drive is at about 62,000, which is 33% of our goal. Thank you.
Our opening words are A Prayer for the Gathering by Leila Ibrahim. Dear God, Spirit of connection and creation, bless this community gathered in hope and love for our world, for one another, and for ourselves. We gather here longing to create a more connected and more just world. Help us speak our truth with respect. Help us listen with love. Help us be patient. Help us be forgiving. Help us know that here, as in all human endeavors, mistakes are inevitable and perfection is impossible. And, oh yes, remind us not to take ourselves too seriously. Amen. Our opening hymn is in the Teal hymnal, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. But first we will light the chalice, because I thought I knew what I was doing, but I did not consult my list. And our chalice lighter this morning is Jan DeLong. And please join me as we recite our chalice lighting words. The words will appear on the screen. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion, those who have dwelt among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. And now we will sing the Fire of Commitment in the Teal hymnal. Please stand in body or spirit. From the height of faith remembered, birds are big and bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire And now it's time for all ages, so young and young at heart, please come forward. So Miss Kinsey is not here today, so I'm going to read a book called Everything is Connected by Jason Gould. I know, I wish it wouldn't end. We are going to stand and sing the children to their classes.
And now is the time where we invite you to generously give to help support our congregation. You can go to tahomauu.com online, and there is a donate button, and you can follow the directions. It'll direct you how to donate, or you can give if you're in the sanctuary. Um, to the baskets that get passed around. And we thank you for sharing what you can.
Please join me in the words of dedication. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. Our meditation hymn is number 131, Filled with Loving Kindness. Please stand in body or spirit. Our speaker this morning is Erin Jones with her sermon, Bridges to Heal Us. Welcome, Erin.
Well, unlike the person who did the testimony, this is my very first time in a UUA church. So I feel incredibly honored to be here. So thank you so much. Everything about this service I just feel like it emanates all that I hope to be in the world. And so I feel really grateful to be here. I actually hosted a service from my car this morning from Zoom out front. So if you saw a blue Camry out there, I was hosting. My husband was actually the youth pastor at, if you've ever been by Tacoma Mall, the Jesus Cares About You sign. He was the youth pastor there for 10 years, and then we were elders there for another 10 years. And our church folded in response to COVID mandates and people's reactions to George Floyd's murder. And my big black ex-football playing husband had to shut down a church that wasn't ready to have conversations about peace and community. So it's intense to be back here in a lot of ways because we invested 25 years of our life there. But I knew 2 years ago, we shut the church down in 2021. And I knew that I still wanted to love well, and I still wanted to be part of a community. And so I have been hosting an online service. We've got queer folks in our service, and trans folks, and non-binary folks, and Black folks, and white folks, and mixed folks, and folks that grew up in church, and folks that this is their first time coming to church. And we are all over the country. And it's such an honor to leave there and to come into here and hear the way that you open your service, and just the land acknowledgement and all of that. So I just wanted to honor that this morning and to say thank you. I feel really honored to be here. Chrissy, if you're watching, Chrissy is the one who invited me to be here today. I know she's watching online. But I also wanted to acknowledge my mother-in-law just passed away 3 months ago at a nursing home right around the corner. And I had the opportunity to sit with her in hospice for 3 months as she died. She was one of the first Black people born in Tacoma. She died at 83 years old. And she invested a lot in this community. And so to be here today, I live in Olympia. To be here today means a lot because I spent a lot of time right here on 56th in Alaska. Alaska Gardens, if you've ever been by Alaska Gardens, she passed away in the hospice there. And I just want to acknowledge that too. It feels a certain kind of way today. But what she was known for in this community is her kindness. And so to end, or to come up after singing a song about love and kindness feels perfect. So I really am here to share my personal journey, not just of faith, but of community. And I intentionally wore this shirt, Better Together, because I believe we're better together. I was with my best friend yesterday. My best friend is Muslim. And there are many who would think, how could you be best friends with a Muslim woman? Because we can. Because we need to. And I think about that and coming here as I looked around the church and looked at all the signs here, I thought, oh, I'm right where I'm supposed to be today. We are better together. We're better together. And it's our only way forward is together. But I want to share a little piece of my story because there's a reason I'm here today. And I believe all of us has a story that brought us to this very moment today in April of 2025. I was born almost exactly 54 years ago out of the body of a white woman who had an affair with a Black man in 1970. And of course, those of you over 50 will remember this. Abortion was not a legal thing. And so when she knew she was pregnant by her not husband, who was a white man, she knew she was probably going to need to tell her husband that there was a brown baby about to pop out of her belly. And he gave her an ultimatum. You pick her or me. And she picked him. And she left me in the hospital. And I've never met my biological parents, but here's what I'll tell you. Here's the good news. Here's the good news. I heard that, oh. Yeah, do you know at 3 months old, 2 teachers from northern Minnesota who had never seen a Black child before ever came to the Children's Home Society and they asked the director, who are the babies no one wants? That's who we want to adopt. And I was chosen by Bruce and Dorothy Adamson. So I don't feel the sting of rejection. I was chosen by 2 of the most amazing humans on the planet, Bruce and Dorothy Adamson, who are still with us today. They are 81 and 80 years old. They've outlived their parents by 20 years, both of them. I feel blessed to still have them in my life. On the day they adopted me, they were disowned by both sides of their good Christian families. Because why would you adopt one of them? Why couldn't you just adopt one of ours? And my dad, who is one of the most courageous humans, he's also the nerdiest math teacher you'll ever meet. Pocket protectors, y'all, till the 90s. Some of y'all young ones don't know what that is, but y'all who are over 50, you will remember the pocket protector. He wore it into the 90s. Nerdy. We're all a little nerdy in our house, but he was also the most courageous human I know. And on that first Christmas, when I was just over 6 months old, he decided to comb my hair out with the only comb they had. They had a white people comb that they combed my hair out with. And I had this much hair on a 6-month-old body. So I want you to just picture that in your head. And he brought me to meet his family, and he was determined they will love her. And as the story goes, my grandfather took one look and said, how could we not love this child? She's so beautiful. Of course I was. God makes us all beautiful at 6 months old, or we would not take care of the babies because they're a lot of work. But my grandfather would give the blessing. And what is really beautiful about my dad's side, we are all 6 feet tall or taller. We all played college basketball. We all became teachers. We all have written at least one book, and all of us sing and play instruments. They're all tow-headed blondes. But we are family. Sometimes family doesn't look like you. We're better together. My dad realized really early in the game that raising me in America was probably not the best idea. Just all of the interactions we had in Minnesota was tough. And so one day he came home from teaching at the local middle school and he announced to our house, we're moving to the Netherlands. I want you to imagine being a 5-year-old who hasn't started kindergarten yet, hearing the Netherlands. And my dad trying to explain to me, and I was like, no, but Tinkerbell, that's where Tinkerbell lives. And I was ready to go live with Captain Hook and Tinkerbell in Neverland. But of course, that's not where we were moving. And we would get on a plane and fly 15 hours to the Netherlands, a small country in Western Europe. And my dad had taken a teaching job at the United Nations School. It's one of the best private schools in the world today. Costs $35,000 a year today for kindergarten. But one of the benefits of being a teacher there is your children went for free. And so here I was, this once orphan child, now sitting in classrooms next to very powerful people's children. I want to share a particular story that was really transformational. I believe all of us has a story of transformation that brought us here today. When I was in the 4th grade, my best friend who sat next to me was a little girl named Yael. Her last name was Ronan. Her father, Mr. Ronan, was the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. And one day Yael came to school, probably about October of 1980. And she was sobbing and she would not stop crying. And I could not get her to talk to me. And I didn't understand what was happening. And I finally went to my teacher and I said, Mrs. Parlier, Yael, I can't get Yael to stop crying. I don't know how to help her. And my teacher explained that a bomb had gone off in her village. Of course, a lot of Americans think this conflict just began a year or two ago, but I got to witness it as a little girl watching my friend Yael. And I said to Mrs. Parlier, how do I love my friend? I don't know how to love a girl whose family is at war. And she said, why don't you go to the library at school and get every book about Israel and at least learn about her country? And so I did. I went and got every book, and something in my gut said, learn to speak her language. And so I asked Yael the next day, would you teach me your language? Would you teach me to speak Hebrew? So here I was, a 9-year-old girl. I already spoke English and Dutch, now picking up my 3rd language, Hebrew. And then one day, and I don't believe in accidents, in November, just months later, my parents dragged me to a PTA meeting. This is what happens when you're a teacher's kid. You get dragged to meetings. And I was sitting at the back of the room, and I was a very nerdy child, so I like to bring fat books around to show everyone how nerdy I was. And I was in the middle of reading The Hobbit at the moment. This big fat book, this little 9-year-old girl who, by the way, was just a little bit shorter than this. I did not grow a whole lot after 9. I was a giant at 9, but I had this big fat book, and I'm sitting at the back of the library, and in walks Yael's father. And then a bunch of other men behind him in suits. And they all sit around the table. And I am no longer reading The Hobbit. I am watching these men as they sit around the table and they begin to introduce themselves. And of course, Yael's father, the Israeli ambassador, then the ambassador from Brazil, and then Portugal, and then Saudi Arabia, and Lebanon, and Palestine. And now I am paying attention because Israel and Palestine are both at the same table, sitting together at the same table, and they spend the next hour talking about how are we going to make sure that our children get a great education when we're at war. That's what this meeting was about. We got countries that are at war with each other, but our children are all going to the same school. How are you going to serve our children? And I am paying attention. I'm locked in. And I realized that night at 9 years old, wait, if these men could sit and talk about their children, why can't we get them to talk about peace? And I decided that night, I'm going to learn to speak Arabic too. I'm going to broker peace between Israel and Palestine. And I was very serious. And my little friend Lynn from Lebanon was also in our class. And I said, Lynn, would you please bring your Arabic baby books? Because I am learning Arabic. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I learned Hebrew. And Tuesday, Thursday, I learned Arabic. And then February comes and our school gets a call from a very special person. President of a place called Egypt. Anwar Sadat was the president at the time, and they were in the middle of a civil war. And his wife had a dream one night, and she had this dream that she saw all these little children in an auditorium, and she had a vision, if we could just get small children to sign a peace commitment when they're small, maybe we can end war in the world. She had this idea. She had this friend named John Denver, and she said, if John could come and sing with the children, and then I could share my story, and then all of the children could sign a peace commitment. Can we try this out at the United Nations School? Now, no principal is saying no to the president of Egypt. So when the president of Egypt called my principal and said, can we? He said, yes, sure. And we would get a visit by Mrs. Sadat and John Denver when I was 9 years old. And I would sing Leaving on a Jet Plane with John Denver, which I totally did not appreciate at 9 years old, but I do at 53. And then I would get to hear this woman, Mrs. Sadat. Now remember, my parents are two Scandinavians from northern Minnesota. What do you think Mrs. Sadat looked like? This woman from North Africa. She looked just like me. And I remember seeing her speak and thinking, oh my gosh, this is me. I saw myself in her for the first time. I saw someone who looked like me. And she finished her talk and she went to my teacher and she asked the fourth grade teacher, who were the 3 children most likely to change the world? John and I want to have lunch with them today. And guess who got to have lunch? With John Denver and Mrs. Sadat. And I have pictures. I was as tall as Mrs. Sadat with her heels on. And I was almost as tall as John Denver at 9 years old. And I will never forget that day, because that day, as we sat at this little lunch table, Mrs. Sadat on one side, John Denver on the other, 2 other little kids with me. I don't even remember who those 2 kids were. Her very first question was, how are you going to change the world? And without any fear and without any hesitation, I raised my hand and I said, I'm learning to speak Arabic and Hebrew, and someday I'm going to broker peace between Israel and Palestine. And she did not laugh at that little 9-year-old naivete. She pointed her finger at me that day and she said, you, Erin, are a world changer. She was a president's wife. Guess what? I believed her when she told me I was a world changer. And I would go on to my teacher the next day and ask her, okay, Mrs. Parlier, Mrs. Sadat just told me I'm a world changer. What do I need to do now? Because your 4th grade teacher is supposed to know the answers to all things. And Mrs. Parlier would get me on this plan of math problems. I know now that's what she had in her desk drawer. She had packets and packets of math problems, but she would get me on this regimen of doing math problems. And I really thought math is the answer to the world's problems. So I'm going to get good at math. What I know now, though, is that's what she happened to have in her desk drawer. But here's the lesson that I learned that I share wherever I get to go. And I was with elementary and middle school kids in California last week. This week, I get to be with firefighters in Kennewick. But this is what I share everywhere I go. Greatness is not about where you're born or how many talents you have. It's what you do with the talents that are in your hand. And I knew by the end of 4th grade, I may have been an orphan kid, but I was adopted by really amazing teachers, and I'm going to use what I have in my hand to make the world a better place. And here I am at 53. I've gotten to travel to 16 countries. I came to America for university and met my husband, who is the younger brother of Jesse Jones, Cairo News. Anybody know who that is? Okay, so imagine him times 2. That's who I'm married to. They are both from Tacoma. That's how we got here. But I've gotten to teach kids from all over the country. In fact, how many of you know who Pete Buttigieg is? Pete was in my very first teaching class. I was his 8th grade PE teacher. That's my claim to fame. My husband went to Notre Dame University in South Bend, Indiana, and Pete was in my very first class. But my passion was really to teach kids in the highest poverty community. So I have taught here at Baker Middle School. I taught at Stewart Middle School. I taught at Jason Lee Middle School. And then we adopted a little girl out of the Hilltop Crips. And the Crips came to our house on 59th and Portland to get her. And we said, you don't get her. And we moved to Spokane to get her away. We knew the Crips were not coming over the pass. And I taught in Spokane for 2 years. I won Teacher of the Year, and that would propel me back to work in state government. And so I have had the opportunity to serve all of the students of Washington State on cabinet of 2 state superintendents. And now I get to travel the country and share my story and encourage you to remember that your story matters. And you may not have met a president's wife, but you met Sally next door to you, and you met Johnny at the store. And they need as much as Mrs. Sadat needed in her country And maybe I haven't solved the Middle East crisis, but I've gotten to solve crises with kids. I've been serving kids, and I really believe God put me in America to serve children like I was served as a child. So I've gotten to teach now for 35 years, from North Philadelphia to South Bend, Indiana, to Tacoma to Spokane. And now I get to spend my time traveling the country. And I'm going to close with a poem from my book. And this is my reminder to all of us that you all have a story. And all of your stories are really important. And your story has brought you to a neighborhood and to a community and to relationships, and all of those matter. And we're better together when we share our stories and we listen to stories and we realize that we need all of us, all of our identities and lived experiences to make this country and this world the best place it can be. So I'll close with a poem that opens my book. I want to be the me I didn't have as a little girl. I want you to love your hair and your skin and your curves and your height or lack thereof. I want you to know you are smart enough and pretty enough and strong enough. I want you to know it's okay to not fit in, because the girls who say they do are really just pretending. I want to be the me I didn't have as a young adult. I want you to know you don't need a man. I want you to know you don't have to know where you will be 20 years from now. I want you to know mistakes are part of the journey. I want to be the me I didn't have as an executive. I want you to know your voice matters. I want you to know you belong there. I want you to embrace opportunities to learn from other great people. I want to be the me I didn't have as a politician. I want you to know you can be your full self, even if they say it will cost you the election. I want you to be the author of your own story. I want you to maintain your integrity, because you'll have to live with yourself afterwards, win or lose. I want to be the me I didn't have, so you could be the you were meant to be. Thank you.
If you found words that were inspiring to you, let's take a moment to set an intention as to how we will rock in the world in the coming week. Our closing hymn is Building Bridges, number 1022. 1023, sorry. It is around. This side will be group one. Lucky you, you're going to be our leaders. This side is group two. Marianne is going to play through it one time, and we will sing it in unison one time, and then group one, you're going to take it and run with it. And we will sing the round 2 times. So 1 time in unison, 2 times as a round. Bridges between our divisions. Building bridges between our nations. Yes, you may clap for yourselves. I'm very proud of you. Our closing words are a responsive reading, number 6. It's actually 637. Yes, 637. So that's the wrong number there. 637 in the gray hymnal. And you will I will read the bold words and you will respond with the less bold words. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. I'm going to ask Jan if she would come forward and extinguish the chalice, please. Thank you. And before she extinguishes the chalice, we will recite our words that we use. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise for our closing blessing song.